Yes, you heard it right.
Every
Monday,
Tuesday,
Wednesday,
Thursday,
Friday. Let's beat the traffic. Bye-bye. नमस्कार.
నమస్తే.
నమస్కారా.
వణకం.
ఖుషామదీద్.
సలాంకైకుం.
సత్ శ్రీ అకాల్.
మీకు అందరికీ వందనము.
जय स्वामीनारायण.
जय श्री कृष्ण.
जय जिनेंद्र.
हमारे इस्माइली भाई बंधुओं को बोलते या अली मदद.
मौला अली मदद बोलते हुए सारे फीजी अब तक बोलेंगे नीसाम बला जय राम राम. क्या हालचाल आपके बंधुजान? आज ट्यूसडे है. ट्यूसडे के दिन आपको ऑफ कोर्स वी जनरली ब्रिंग यू द हॉट पिक ट्यूसडेज, लेकिन थोड़ा ये अपग्रेड चल रहा था हमारे यहाँ पे, तो वी कुड नॉट एक्चुअली गेट दिस टू गाइस बंधुजान ऑन टाइम, बट don't worry, stay tuned because today there में we are going to be going into our health 360 segment जहाँ पे going to talk about something very important बंधुजान. आपको भी याद रखना है, हमें भी याद रखनी है, because when we come out of the shelters, what's going to happen is we're going to be facing something very, 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 very huge.
Yeah, huge is an understatement.
Your reflection in the mirror, by the way. Your reflection in the mirror. Many of us actually have the problem, including me. Somehow I put on some COVID weights.
What COVID weights?
My God.
There is no weights.
You won't believe, Faltani, I put on weights over here. I lost lots of weights over here in my arms.
Oh God.
Oh my God, I'm up in arms right now, but I don't know what to do. And here's what you've got to do, Balja. If at all you want to learn more about what you can do about this situation, what you probably might be in, like how we are, definitely contact us or listen to our show today, because we have Dr. Anish Sinha and Pain Nauper coming on air and talking to us about this issue called COVECITY.
God, this COVID is everywhere. Everywhere I see.
That's why it's called a
pandemic.
pandemic.
I was looking at something which said some free TV, and I was like, it's not. It was. I read it as COVID free TV. I was like, what? And then I realized that it's cable free TV.
So basically, COVID is not everywhere, but COVID definitely is on our minds.
Yes.
And how we can actually break that particular mold and come back and have fun is what we do on our shows, Bandajan. And yes, as you know, the Indian cinema has totally kind of, what should I say, Indian cinema is shut down. Literally, we don't have any new content to come your way for sure.
Exactly,
so
obviously.
I'm really, really sorry. Gaane aur nahi aaye. But it does not mean that we cannot entertain you guys. So हमारे पास बहुत सारे ऐसे भी गाने हैं जो अभी आपको झलक दिखाएंगे. Faltani, please pick any song which you can play for our bandus. Don't tell me you're going to pick any song. Please don't pick a song based on your mood, Faltani.
What,
pick
man?
based on my mood. Happy, nice, you know.
Masakali.
Yes, please.
Matakali.
This is the one which are
remix, Bandujan. I don't like it very much, but kya kare? ये सुनना है कि Moscow Mashuka.
Hey, listen, Faltani, don't give us options because we don't like your choices.
Okay, let's play. क्या?
We'll pick up one of the best ones.
Okay, Banjan. This is a Ghana that you guys can enjoy. I don't know, सिद्धार्थ मल्होत्रा और तारा सुतारिया जैन पे फिल्माया गया. ये गाना सुनिएगा तुलसी कुमार और साचित टंडन की आवाज़ों में और तनिष बागची रिमिक्स. मसक्कली 2.0 बंदजान.
अभी बारिश हो रही है, Faltani.
बारिश हो रही है.
And sound effects दे रही तू बारिश की. स्टार्ट हो गया. Oh my God, बंदना पहन के हमारा सिद्धार्थ मल्होत्रा जी. तारा सुतारिया.
Yeah.
No vibes. Both of them look very flat actually. As in, no sensation, no expression. Ananya Pandey would have been nice in this one.
ऐसे विंग झटकना कमर मटक तू लचक लचक के यूं ना भटक हर नजर नजर है तुझ पे तू जरा संभल संभल के रहना रे है इस कदर किया हशर के नींदें सारी उड़ गई रे हम जे तो बस तेरी फिक्र तेरे चक्कर में भूला सारा जहां रे मसक्कली तू कहां चली ओ मसक्कली कहां तेरी गली
चली मैं मसक्कली मैं चली
हवा में उड़ती रहती है दिलों से जुड़ती रहती है तू लगती है कोई ठंडे जो मुझ पे गिरती रहती है जरा बता दे तू कहाँ पे रहती है ढूंढता रहता हूँ मैं गली
Hey there.
मसक्कली तू कहाँ चली ओ मसक्कली कहाँ तेरी गली
Not bad at all, Faltrani. Very interesting. I think this movie is going to become a hit.
It is not a movie. It's just a remake. It's just
Oh my God! Just imagine if it were to be a hit, Faltrani. It's a total different ballgame. It would have been like the first hit for COVID.
Acha. The first hit for COVID, whatever.
I know, but actually, COVID hit us really bad, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's
You
true.
know, actually, Faltrani, we should actually start talking about this right now and must get experts in this and actually talk about this. How COVID has hit us. I sometimes feel that we should do a special show that way.
Really?
Yeah. You
Okay.
don't think so?
No.
What?
No. We're talking about COVID all the time, Ray.
So
So
what?
we're going to talk about how we get over it. And
Okay,
get over,
so
and do something more,
Yeah.
constructive.
Okay.
And get healthy and talk about things that are going to put us on the path to recovery. You know what I mean? From this entire pandemic situation. So, Alto Baba, are we ready to go into our Health 360
Oh,
segment?
yes, we are, Banajan. And of course, we have with us on air, let's say we have, of course, oh, there you go. We already have Dr. Sinha and Prerna with us, joining us right now on air, online. Hi, Dr. Sinha. How are you guys doing? Hello, can you hear us? I guess they
They
can.
said they can't hear us. Dr. Sinha,
Oh, I know. Now they can hear us for sure. There you go. Hi, Dr. Sinha. How are you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
There you go.
Hi,
Houston,
Prerna.
we have connection.
Hi, Claire.
Welcome. It's a wonderful show, wonderful day. I'm liking the weather outside. It's awesome. It's perfect for a nice long walk. Right, Faltwani?
yes.
What are the
Yes.
Oh my God. Especially...
Well, I've been doing long walks in the morning, Alto Baba, so...
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
That's very impressive. Are you just saying it because Dr. Sinha's on air right now?
Yes.
There you
yes.
go. You would.
I'm impressed.
Yes. I've been trying, Dr. Sinha, at least, but
Good.
yeah. So, so Alto is, he has made it a habit now to make sure that he guilt trips me every time I am not going on a walk. Or
What?
he'll say,
Me?
"Hey, I'm going on for a walk. You want to go for a walk?" And then
Hey,
he'll say-
that's my way of encouraging you, my dear.
yeah. And if I say no, he's like, "Oh, you know what? Never mind. You must be tired."
Yeah.
yeah.
But
So-
anyway, today's topic is very interesting. We just
Yes.
share a little bit about our bandhus, and bandhus are like, what?
Yeah.
There's something called that word?
Yeah.
What word is the Faltwani? I forget the word.
It's a word called COVECITY. I was really, I was impressed with that term. Is there such a term, or did you coin it, Dr. Sinha?
You know, I thought I coined it, but the funny thing is there's no health groups or anybody that's actually used that word. But in the Urban Dictionary, COVECITY is a term for anybody who's gaining weight as a result of the COVID-19 virus.
Ah.
But but in my blog post, I'm really calling attention to the fact that there does seem to be a definitive link between obesity, especially the belly fat, and COVID-19 severity. So that's why I thought it'd be a good hashtag sort of catchword so people are aware of that connection. Because, I think a lot of us feel a little bit vulnerable and very sort of fearful about this unknown predator out there named COVID-19. And I know that can cause a lot of fear and anxiety. One of the greatest forms of stress is when you have fear of an unknown, basically, right? And so that's what COVID-19 sort of is. But I think the more we equip ourselves with knowledge and understand that there are preventable things that we can do to help combat the severity, including really keeping checks on our waistline and our weight, I think that can really help us all. So the point of the blog post in today's show is to explain the science of how can body fat contribute to our risk of COVID-19 and hopefully motivate people to make the right lifestyle changes. And Prerna can help emphasize that message.
So, Prerna, go ahead. You have the mic. You're going to emphasize the message of...
So lifestyle measures that you can take to control your belly fat, one of them that has been proven when Dr. Sinha and I see our patients is a low carbohydrate diet. So when you eat less refined foods, for instance, it has been correlated with less belly fat. Also cutting down sugars, especially fructose, such as high fructose corn syrup, sweetened beverages, and eating more of the natural sugar seems to also really take a few inches off the belly. And exercise, don't underestimate the impact that aerobic exercise can on keeping that waistline in check. So I call all of this girth control because you're really trying to keep that abdominal girth in control. So as I'm ending that little lifestyle segment, stress management, that is huge for trying to keep that belly fat in check because it helps control the emotional eating.
Emotional eating, interesting. So I want to know more about emotional eating. I'm an emotional person and I eat a lot also sometimes. Don't laugh, although it happens. Sometimes in my case, it does happen.
Okay, Altaf.
Dr. Sinha, tell us more about what is emotional eating.
Yeah, and before I even get to the lifestyle changes, I probably should step back and explain the science of why does belly fat contribute to this. So I want us to step back and understand COVID-19 a little bit better. So basically what happens is when COVID-19 enters the cells inside our body, what happens is our body responds by producing these chemicals called cytokines. And those are basically inflammatory. They're parts of our immune system. And we call it a cytokine storm. So one of the reasons people have severe reactions with COVID is when they get an infection, they overproduce these cytokine chemicals, and that can actually damage the cell and actually kill and disrupt the cell. Now, we need to have cytokines to protect us, but in COVID-19, it looks like that reaction becomes too much. So if we think of our immune system as being a fire to put out the enemy, we're overproducing those cytokines. Now, where are those cytokines coming from apart from our immune system? They come from stress, so we'll definitely talk about that. But they also directly come from our belly fat. So if we're carrying extra belly fat, that belly fat itself has those extra cytokine chemicals. So even before you've even been infected by COVID, if it looks like that you had basically an issue with extra belly fat, it's going to contribute to that cytokine storm. So we want to make sure we keep that low. Now, my biggest concern in this environment, I literally had some television visits with 3 or 4 patients, and many of them are sheltered at home. They're eating way more food than they are. They're baking like crazy. They're contributing to the exact risk that they're worried about. And my big concern was none of them were walking because they're afraid to be outdoors in the midst of the virus. And I told them, you being sheltered inside and eating more food and not being outdoors is increasing your risk of developing a complication from this. So we've got to be rational about sort of, our fear about the virus, but we have to do things to fortify our body and lower risk by keeping that girth, as Perna mentioned, low as we can.
Yeah, I do know many of our bandhus actually are posting on Facebook the photographs of the foods they make. And actually the important thing on there, Balajan, is of course, I think even Dr. Stan will agree with you on it, it actually is about, you make the food and you got to share it, not digitally. Physically share the food. Send some towards us so at least you'll eat less.
Right.
That's... now I know, that's emotional eating. You get too happy that you made something very nice and you eat more.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But Dr. Sinha, I wanted to really backtrack just a little bit and ask you about the cytokines. So these are chemicals in our body, cytokines? What are they? Is it produced once somebody's infected? Or, I mean, I'm not sure. I'm sorry, I didn't...
No, these are really good questions. So I'm sorry, I should clarify a little bit better. So cytokines are specific chemicals. So when our immune system encounters anything foreign, like an infection or a toxin, our immune system has multiple weapons to combat that infection, let's say. And cytokines are a type of chemical naturally produced by our immune system to basically beat that infection. Now, cytokines should be raised in the body episodically. So once in a while, if we're exposed to an infection or a toxin, we will turn on that fire to attack the enemy, but then we turn it back off. Now, the problem with our modern lifestyle is when we feel we're under threat, or when we're eating the types of processed foods that Prerna has told us not to eat, that can also turn on cytokines. When we're thinking and worrying a lot, when we're staying up late at night, studies have shown over and over that raises cytokines. So if we think of COVID-19 as causing a forest fire in our cells, I tell people when we're under chronic stress, when we're not sleeping well, we're not eating properly, we're already creating an environment of dry kindling. There's already flickering flames inside our cells, and the minute the infection hits our body, whoosh, it actually takes off like a wildfire. So we have to be very aware of that. And I'm worried about our bandhus because Indians, as you know, tend to carry more of that belly fat. And I actually had a talk with an interesting authority who was telling me about the 1918 pandemic, which we know is a Spanish flu. And basically this was right after World War I. And they found even in that generation that Indians, it was incredible, about 25 million Indians died. They perished. It was one of the worst hit countries. And they found over and over that the Indian metabolism and body was more susceptible. And they're not sure why, but I think we are more susceptible because we have a tendency to produce those cytokines, especially from the belly fat. Luckily, that's reversible. If we manage the diet and lifestyle, we can keep the cytokines to a lower level. So then if we do get infected, we can turn that volume up as needed to combat the infection, but not continuously. And that's what's happening day after day. We have patients, people posting on Facebook. They're having all types of things. And I understand the purpose of comfort foods, but if you're comforting yourself every day, you're making a ripe environment for the infection to do damage to our bodies. So I don't want to be an alarmist, but we are seeing these trend lines. So we have to be very careful.
Well, I also kind of want to emphasize it's also pretty, I mean, as much as people can say, oh, yeah, our kids are doing great with online schooling and things like that, it is the added stress of being cooped up at home with everybody in the house, you know, and there's stress from you have to do the working from home part, you have to be parenting, and you have to be educating, and you have to do so many different things, and you have to be cooking, taking care of everything at home. So
And
that's
taking photographs and posting on Facebook. Oh
no,
my God.
God, you and your photographs on Facebook. I'm talking about genuine stressors, Altu Baba.
Okay, fine. So I'm sorry about that. But if you're feeling stressed out, if you have a question burning up in your mind and you want to know what is the right answer for it, give us a call here. Lines are open. The number to call here, you can see it on the Facebook page itself. It's 408-912-2479 right there below, right here in the space I'm pointing out. Go check it out and give us a call for sure. And you can also do one thing. You can also send us a message on Facebook so we can ask the doctor and Prerna directly right here when we have them on air with us. Number again is 408-912-2479. But I do have one question I wanted some clarity on, Dr. Sinha, if you don't mind. I don't know what is the right way of doing this. I see many people actually using those masks and they're going out for walks with those. Is it something which is a good habit to wear them on a regular basis when you go out for walks in the open or when you go cycling? Is it something running or any exercise? Is it good to wear a mask, or do you think only when you go to a crowded place it's better to wear a mask?
It's a good question. You know, unfortunately, the mask guidelines have been very confusing. So whatever I say now, I would just ask people to make sure they check the mainstream recommendations. I know it can be very confusing, but I've also seen people during hikes and exercises. Now, the key thing is if you're in an open space, like when I'm walking in the neighborhood, we have wide enough streets where I don't need to wear a mask. If somebody, our neighborhood has an understanding already. If somebody's coming towards me, one of us crosses over to the other side. So if we can maintain social distancing in an open, natural environment, the mask is probably unnecessary. But the minute you're going into grocery stores and other areas, it probably is a good idea. And really, you're trying to protect the people around you. Now, the negative I have around masks, it gives people a very false sense of security. And most people are wearing all types of silly masks, from handkerchiefs to bras to underwear to whatever, and they don't realize it's not creating a very tight seal on their mouth. And so sometimes we become very careless as a result of wearing these masks. So they will not filter out the particles effectively. I think it just makes us a little bit more conscious, but we have to be very careful and maintain social distancing guidelines and everything else, no matter whether you wear a mask or not.
Very true. Of course, I've actually found somebody, a few videos of our bandhus actually posting how you make masks with socks. I was like, what, really? I hope they washed it. What? And sometimes you never know. They might want to recycle stuff. You know, people do that sometimes. And of course, the questions, if you have any questions, you can give us a call here for sure. Lines are open, 408-912-2479.
So I'm going to switch over and ask Prerna really quickly a question with regard to the belly fat combating. You said something about fructose and not consuming foods that are heavy in, have more like high fructose corn syrup. But what about actual fruits that have fructose in it? Some of our bandhus actually have switched one meal to a completely fruit diet kind of thing. So is that bad?
So I wouldn't do one meal completely fruit, especially if you find that you're eating a lot of fruit and your total net carb intake for that meal goes up. But when you talk about the fructose coming from fruit, because of the fiber in that particular fructose group, it actually mitigates the negative effects that you see with processed refined fructose, which is something like agave nectar or high fructose corn syrup. That really goes straight to the liver and increases the production of triglycerides and fatty liver. But you don't see that with fruit fructose because of the fiber.
Okay.
Hey, Prerna, which fruits would you recommend, though? Because I know we get that question a lot, because some have more of an impact than others. Which ones do you recommend to patients usually?
Yeah, so I usually recommend organic berries, and because they're very high in antioxidants and they've got a lot of fiber. So raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, they're all great. You can also do citrus these days right now to get that vitamin C. So those are the ones I'd go for. I would really limit bananas, pineapple, mangoes.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, we have to be careful because now tropical season is coming. One other one that I'd add to the list, because I have a lot of patients that wear continuous glucose monitors, and the one fruit that causes the most dramatic spikes in sugar are grapes.
Oh, wow.
And it's incredible what an impact grapes can have on your blood sugar. And I see that consistently. So it's true that things like grapes, papayas, the tropical fruits, as much as I love to eat those should be on very physically active days, maybe after a workout. But many of our bandhus are making juices and smoothies and having huge plates of these fruits. Don't forget, there are something called vegetables too. I know they're not as sweet, but Perna is always very good about recommending a diversity of vegetables. We have to make sure, especially if you have blood sugar issues like prediabetes or extra belly fat, you do have to be a little bit careful and stick to the better fruits and eat lots of veggies with that.
That's right, but of course, remember that for sure. And yes, any information you might need, yes, you can always post on this particular Facebook page. We will actually share it with Dr. Sinha and Prerna as well.
Right, absolutely. We did have a couple of more questions, and one particular question specifically related to belly fats that came up on our Facebook page. Do we have time to squeeze that
Sure,
in?
yeah, why not, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, and one quick thing too before the question. So we have a very detailed post on COVECITY, and I just published a free ebook. So if you go to the website and you go to the resource page, you can download that ebook. It has all the specific foods and lifestyle strategies that help lower COVID risk. So be sure you check that resource out on the website.
again, Dr. Sinha's blog is southasianhealthsolution.org, or you could go to culturalhealthsolutions.com, and you can look up this ebook that Dr. Sinha has produced with regard to COVID. And also there's a detailed blog post which talks about beware of the COVECITY, COVID obesity pandemic. So you can actually look up this blog post. But we've actually shared it on our Facebook page. You can go ahead and look it up there as well. But with regard to the belly fat issue, this Bandhu is asking if I already have belly fat and I am working out, then am I still at high risk? And I don't know. I guess she says yeah.
Good question. So it sounds like it's from a female, correct?
Yes.
Now, even though we're mentioning belly fat as a risk factor, I'm not saying that all belly fat is necessarily inflammatory. If she has had tests done in the past to show her triglycerides or blood sugar and other tests are normal, and she's maintaining physical activity, she's probably minimizing that inflammatory belly fat. But what I tell patients is, even if you have extra belly fat, that's all the more reason for you to exercise, eat a proper diet, manage your stress and sleep, because each of those factors can elevate cytokines. You want to minimize the amount of that coming out. So I would say that if she hasn't had those other labs checked, when you go to my post, it mentions which labs can indicate whether you have that inflammatory belly fat. If those are normal, then I would say your risks of having a lot of cytokines from fat is probably lower as well. So check out the post to get some guidance on that.
Absolutely. So you can go to Dr. Sinha's blog. Again, the blog post is on southasianhealthsolution.org. You can also make appointments to meet Prerna ji or Dr. Sinha at the Palo Alto Medical Foundation by going to pamf.org/South Asian. Again, pamf.org/South Asian. They do have telehealth appointments, so you can actually make an appointment by going there, pamf.org/South Asian. Dr. Sinha, Prerna, I'm afraid we're out of time right now, but we'd love to talk more about this on our next episode. But thank you so much for bringing us light to such an important thing that we don't consider could possibly be the side effect or after effect of COVID.
Great. Thanks very much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Take care, everyone.
Have
Bye-bye.
a healthy rest of the week. And of course, Binajan, if you want more information about what we just discussed, you can go to southasianhealthsolution.org, or you can go to pamf.org/South Asian. Now, don't go anywhere. We'll be back with the Dihari Top 10 or something akin to that in the next hour, which is going to be our Pam Pam show at 6.